Today's episode is sponsored by Raul Rodriguez Law.
Good,
what is it, TKO?
It's Dana White and the
yeah.
Saudis. They partnered up.
Yeah. But what have you heard about it?
The two cards. Well, they have one that's happening. Times Square, I think, is their first event. Times Square with Ryan Garcia. They're doing it in the middle of Times Square. So these
is that still happening? I thought Oscar was blocking it because he's under contract with the Oscar.
It's official. May 2nd, and then.
I'm sure that if it's that Turk,
anything
you
happens.
know Oscar's kissing his ass.
Oh yeah.
It is.
He is. They are like everyone else.
Yeah.
The whole thing is on that is the pay for boxing is going to be different because they're going to pay them kind of like they do UFC. There's going to be like,
but it's a mid-tier pay, right? Mid-tier to entry, and maybe that's what they want to do is create their own.
Turn this
fighters.
shit on and we'll talk about it.
We're rolling.
Yeah.
Okay. What I was going to say is you got one guy who pays tight, which is Dana, and you got the Turk who pays big, and they're partners.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah. That is weird because everyone's kind of saying like, "Well, is boxing going to be seen? Is the pay going to be substantial enough for boxers? Because like the boxers get paid, where UFC they kind of don't, and that's the whole thing of. I think they already released like a tier.
They did,
right?
Yeah, it's like $20,000 if you're, an unranked, and then it goes up from there. And if you're challenging for a title, it's like $300-something thousand.
Yeah.
If you're the champion, you get paid in a higher six figures, not quite $1 million, but just slightly below that.
But even then, that's a huge change for boxing already. I think, I don't know, y'all tell me what y'all think with UFC. I mean, those champions are getting paid a few $100,000 compared to boxing a few million.
Yeah.
But it keeps them hungry, it keeps them wanting to keep finding more people, and I don't know. I think it's a good thing for boxing because people are expecting that Mayweather effect of, well, you know what, I'm not going to take this fight unless I'm getting this much. But then that just kind of ruins the spice behind the fights.
But the whole thing about it, though, I think there's 2 points here. The first one is the one thing that the UFC company is great at is highlighting their fighters.
Yes.
Right? You're going to know everybody on that card. Not only that, they may not be paying you a whole lot, but you get sponsorships. There's tons of sponsorships in
outside the UFC bubble, though. So once you walk into the arena, you can't be wearing anything where other people are paying you. Like it's only Reebok, Monster, UFC. That's it.
Only their sponsors.
So
inside the arena.
What it seems like TKO is going to do is create a boxing middle class because there is no middle class in boxing. You're either not getting paid or you're getting paid.
Yeah, right. So the boxers are desperate to get paid.
Definitely. And I would think, if you have 5 fights and you're going to get, like 30 grand, 20 grand from those 5 fights that year, you're probably getting paid more than you would normally if you're bottom rank. You know what I mean?
If you get the fights.
If you get the fight.
If you get, and nobody fights 5 times, rarely, right, James?
Nah, rarely.
That's rare. I mean,
now because everyone's getting that big paycheck, there's no reason to fight 5 times.
Yeah,
4 times.
I think what happened is a few years ago, while we were still promoting, but even that is when Al Heyman came in and started overpaying everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone got spoiled. The guys were making $1 million, $2 or $3 million for just regular 10-round fights, whatever. Maybe not that much, but they were getting paid a lot. And it ruined boxing for a while because now everyone got spoiled. Any time anyone wanted to fight, they wanted that $1 million, $2 million fights. And you just find a 10-round fight. And so that kind of hurt boxing a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that was the beginning of the downfall for fighters making money. Because they overpriced everybody, and everybody was at the bottom. No one was in the middle. Anyone that wanted to fight wanted to get that high dollar, or they wouldn't fight at all.
But I keep thinking TKO is going to probably, I would assume they're probably going to put on their own show, their own thing, right? And make it another like UFC type.
Yes,
you know
it's
what I mean?
UFC.
It's their own brand, whatever they're going to call it. Still to be determined.
They're going to have their own fights. They're going to have their own thing.
It's going to be their own ecosystem, right? With the promotion, the marketing, their own shows, the house shows, the whatever.
I feel like that's what these two did. These two were doing Leija Battah promotions, and that's what it was. It was y'all had opportunity to sign your own fighters, create your own things. Great, again, y'all partnered up with Golden Boy, with PBC, with all that. But still, it was y'all's brand. You know what I mean? That was our
brand, and using some of their fighters and some local fighters as well. Yeah, and it worked well. Matter of fact, some of those fights that we had were all-time, fight of the year candidates. I mean, 4 or 5 fights that we had.
I mean, everyone, not to mention the Canelo fights we'll get to, but everyone remembers Broner versus Maidana.
Yeah.
That was a total change in the boxing game right there, right? Broner's first loss, Maidana, who, we're in San Antonio and everyone's going for the Latin guy. You know what I mean? And to see Broner go down like that, the first time he's been down, and just a hard fight, you know what I mean? Like, that was crazy. That was an insane fight that everyone remembers that one. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of previews that come out on any fights that come up or about to come up, and you either see like Kirkland being knocked out by Canelo, or the Broner fight where he's walking or he's getting knocked down for the first time.
You always see the corner pad. The corner pad.
Yeah.
Leija Battah.
Those are our fights,
a lot of good points out there that happened in the past while we were working. Yeah.
So like looking back at that moment, like right now, like we're gonna cover more of it, but how do y'all feel about what y'all did? Y'all made a dent. Like y'all did something here. Y'all had 2 Canelo fights. That's insane. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like looking back at that, we'll go into it, but how does that feel? Like looking back at that, was years ago.
It was crazy because the first Canelo fight, we had 40,000 people at the Alamo Dome. The second Canelo fight, we had 30,000 something in Houston.
Yeah.
And, it was all because Mike's brain trust and how he worked at how to sell tickets.
Actually, it wasn't my brain trust. I really didn't know what I was doing. And when I went into that, they had stated, for this Canelo fight, do you want to open up the whole venue or do you want to cut it down? And I said, no, open it all up. And I was like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But if we would have opened it up, we probably would have sold maybe 50 to 55,000, because when we started out that venue, we opened it up where they cut the whole place in half, right? And then going into the sales, the guy told me I can scaffold half of this venue for. Actually, I asked him for money to give me for because we were doing so well in sales. I asked the Alamo Dome if they could pay us more money, and he said, "No, I can't pay you more money. But what I can do is scaffold this venue and get you 4,000 more seats." So he extended it that way, but because the whole thing was so lopsided, they cut it in half. You couldn't open it back up to the consumers, right? So, but originally I told Golden Boy, open it up all the way. And I really didn't know what I was doing.
And that was for, just so people don't realize, that was for Canelo Trout.
Canelo Trout.
And how much time do we have to get ready for that fight? 9 weeks.
It wasn't, 9 weeks.
Yeah, 9 weeks.
Wow. Y'all flipped that in 9 weeks?
Was it 9 weeks or was it 6 weeks? No, it was 9 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
It could have been less. It was fast.
How does a call go down, man? Who gets the call?
Yeah, I was going to ask, how does that...
They just called us up, said, you want the fight? And I said, okay.
But you had already been promoting at this point a few
fights. We did a few fights, right?
Yeah.
We did maybe 5, 6, maybe not even that, maybe 5 fights. And we get on the phone with Oscar, and we're on the 3-way line with Oscar, and he said, "You want to fight?" We said, "Yeah, we want to fight. We want you give us a fight. We want to fight." And he said, "Okay, you want to fight? We'll give you Trout and Canelo in 9 weeks."
Yeah,
9 weeks.
Yeah,
let's see what you can do.
Let's see what you can do. And we're like, "Whoa, man, that's a big fight." And that was Canelo's probably coming out fight.
Yeah,
with Trout, and so he gave us 9 weeks to put the fight on, and we did.
Yeah.
Mike did great with it.
Well, but the guy sells. Canelo's going to sell.
Yeah, but he wasn't Canelo then. He was Canelo, but he wasn't where he's at now.
No, he wasn't.
It was work to do that.
Yeah,
it was a lot of work.
This guy's got an attraction. I mean,
even here in San Antonio, right? Predominantly Mexican community and all that. Like
that's where you had Figueroa on the co-main event as well, I believe, right? Was Figueroa on that co-main event?
He fought Cotto's cousin.
Oh, did he?
He fought Miguel Cotto's cousin. I think it was Abner Cotto or something like that. Yeah, he fought on that card.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Brandon. It was Omar.
Omar, that's what
Omar.
Yeah.
Had a few Omars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was looking on my phone right now, the Our Lady of the Lake card. I forgot how long ago that was. Earl Spence. You had Omar on that card also. You had another.
Charlos.
You had Charlo on that card, and these are local fighters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So these are all world champions.
Fighting Our Lady of the Lake.
All Rising Stars world champions.
Yeah, no, that card had.
That was a pro-am. I fought on that I fought as an amateur on
That's
that
right.
card.
It was a pro-am.
It was a pro-am.
Oh, that's right.
Then y'all even did the one of the fights of the year. I believe y'all did that one where it was the Omar Figueroa against the guy from Japan.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not, and they
were
like
throwing so
they
many
were
thousands of punches.
one of the most brutal fights. It was
Yeah.
I think they both broke their hands or something like that. Like Omar broke both his hands, I believe, and the guy everyone was just busted.
That was a
crazy fight.
crazy fight.
Y'all have had
yeah.
some
I gotta
great
see.
fights.
I've never seen it. I gotta see it.
Yeah,
Now that you tell
all, it's
me
on,
that,
all of
now
it's on
it's
YouTube. It's
Yeah,
on
but-
YouTube.
yeah.
Like,
And that was Keith Thurman was on that fight, and
Yep.
yes,
some other gentlemen. I mean that card was stacked.
Stats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
James,
And
going.
people don't realize those fight cards that were here.
those are big.
Yeah, you
It's
got
huge,
there like when
huge
the
thing.
doors opened because you didn't want to miss a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that more?
No, it's going back. I want to know the genesis. Why did you, obviously, I knew why you, right? Something you wanted to do. How did you get involved with it? What made you decide you wanted to start promoting boxing events?
I don't know. Everybody's attracted to boxing, right? You look at it, I want to be a part of that. So I was working out with James in training, and then I asked James, how can somebody get us involved with it? So, Mike Miller, we talked to him, and so he connected it with some people from Top Rank's side. We started out with them, and then they didn't have any opportunity for us. So I said, who else? Can you talk to Oscar? He said, sure. So he got us an appointment with Oscar. We went to go. We actually flew to meet him. And then at the same time, when Angulo was in trouble, Alfredo Angulo, he was stuck on the border with customs. I guess they took his permit away. That same trip, we went to go visit him and meet Oscar at the same time. So we went to the immigration, James and I, and we're all in an immigration room. It's James, myself, Mike Miller, Oscar, and Angulo's wife, some Peruvian or Colombian lady, and we're in a 4x4 box visiting with
it's
the guy.
like a room like this with
Okay,
everybody
and then so Angulo's in the jail, immigration jail, and we're all in one cube box, and the fucking guy's crying, Angulo. And,
Sorry, I don't want to.
and his wife's there, and he's crying to Oscar, not crying, but he's upset and he's mad, and then who the fuck are these guys sitting in the box with my? Who are these guys?
strangers.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my god, I'm sitting in a box with this fucking mess here, and it was crazy.
It was
This
almost
is
like
a
you didn't belong
difficult,
there.
challenging time for me in my life.
I knew him because
Yeah, you knew.
Mike was managing him.
That's
but-
Pedro Angulo.
yeah.
Angulo, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Was it Alfred Angulo?
His nickname is
Alfredo,
Pedro.
yeah.
Like, dog.
Yeah.
absolutely.
But for those people that don't know, I mean, Mike is a successful businessman, family business for a long time.
Yeah.
We all know Mike. Mike's got that. He's got that brain. Just doesn't stop. The guy is success all over. Your brain does not stop, Mike. You're constantly thinking of opportunities and of helping your friends and helping others.
Yeah.
That's you. That's who you are. And there's no doubt that why Leija Battah was successful in large part is you're one of the best ambassadors of boxing that there is out there. Your name opens up a lot of doors. And then you have this business guy on the other side that his brain is constantly working 24/7. I remember going into Mike's office for something, and one of the fights you guys were promoting, and Mike's got a war room, man, in his office. People with the phones calling. I mean, it's like a boiler room, not a war room. It's a boiler room. And they're calling people, hey, how many tickets you want? Or you got to call this list of people. And Mike's out here barking orders. And
I
and
think I
telling
saw people squirting water in those guys' mouths.
Yeah.
Those people, they, like, in between
But
rounds.
that's what it
In between
took
rounds,
to be
Yeah, we
successful.
even had
It was
porta potties
amazing
under
to
their
see.
desks.
It was amazing to see. It's a great operation you had, man.
I think y'all were definitely ahead of y'all's time when it comes to the promotion game. Y'all had some great ideas. Not only just the fighters that y'all were bringing in and the fights that y'all were putting together, but the event itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just the crowd.
I think it changed, and I think some now, after what we did, you see some of that stuff with the other promoters doing lights and stuff that we used to have.
Yeah.
Remember we had those girls dancing.
Yeah,
on
go-go
on
dancers,
go-go
like-
dancers or whatever.
Yeah.
And now you see other people trying to do that too.
It was like, it was a night out, like we said.
Yeah,
Like it was just it was a good night out.
It was one of the first times I saw, from a building's perspective, I saw a DJ.
Yeah.
With the dancers and just
Yeah.
to create that vibe. And
Yeah.
nobody was doing that before.
Yeah.
It was always, before the venue, hey, here's some music. Can you play this? Or have
Yeah.
your guy play this? Or they had one guy off to the side that would hit the music, the entrance fighter song. That was it. The rest of it was up to the venue guy to play whatever he wanted to play.
Yeah. I mean, we just had a lot of people working on the fight, and one person comes up with an idea, and that idea is a lot of work. And then the ideas kept coming and coming. It's just like, it was a job to get these events going, but a lot of preparation. Again, we had a lot of ideas, and those ideas, each one took amounts of work to do, but we did it, But
And for those people who don't know, I mean, it is a massive risk to promote a boxing event financially. It's a risk.
yeah,
What's the old saying in boxing, James? If you want to make $1 million, tell people.
Get ready to lose $2 million.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's like promoting boxing. It's a risk because the fights could flop, the ticket sales could go. It depends on when you're putting the fight on, and the month you're putting the fight on, what's going around that month.
Fighters get hurt; they can't come up for the fight after all.
Exactly.
You got to change a fighter.
Have y'all been through that? Like, I mean, I'm sure that's happened, but like, do you remember a big one that happened like that, or things were kind of smooth?
well,
Someone backing out.
Maidana's fight was a great fight, but it was a losing fight. But it was a great fight.
Yeah, it's one people remember.
And we had a big crowd, but not big enough.
Yeah,
It was definitely a fight that I didn't go. I know I didn't go to that one. I was doing something, but y'all were there. I wasn't there at that fight.
Wow.
Who fought before that? There was y'all were telling me about somebody who fought before that.
On that
It was a
card?
great fight. Yeah.
Every fight on that card. There was I believe Thurman was on that card
I don't know
too.
who was on that one.
But there was every fight. There was a huge. It was a huge.
Yeah.
And you know what?
See that
In
card.
general, San Antonio has this thing about having like weird things happen in a fight. You know what I mean? Like you see Gervonta taking out who was it? Who did Gervonta knock out here? Leo Santa
Leo,
Cruz.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like all these little things happen in San Antonio. Like San Antonio is just a boxing town. Where
and
something
those,
happens.
and those are like fights that stand out like
Yeah.
crazy, and a lot of them happen here in San Antonio.
A lot of them happen in
Yeah.
San Antonio. It's weird, ain't it? Like that's one, but there's a lot of things that happen, like anomaly fights happen where just weird things happen in a fight. You already know who's going to win. It doesn't end up happening like that.
Yeah.
San Antonio just like is a spoiler. You
We've
know
had
what I
like 3 fights of the year, fights here,
Yeah.
and knockout of the years.
mean? There's a lot of things that have happened here.
Yeah, a lot of great fights.
Yeah, on that Broner card, you had Leo Santa Cruz, and then the co-main was Keith Thurman.
Oh, it was? Okay. Who did he fight?
He fought Jesus Soto Cross.
Yeah, I remember him.
That's
Yeah,
a huge fight, yeah.
Yeah, that
he was a
it.
good fighter. He was tough.
He was
tough as
tough.
He
nails.
stopped him. Keith Thurman stopped
yeah.
him.
Yeah,
That
Jesus
guy was
was a
tough.
very tough
Yeah.
fighter.
You talk about some of the venues here in town, from the Freeman, right? Now
Yeah.
you got Frostbank Center, back then SBC Center. But
La Vita, we did La Vita.
La
fights.
Vita.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
there's something about doing a boxing event in the Alamo Dome. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's that mystique that
It's the smell. It's just everything about it. you know?
people
It's-
just like perk up and go, ooh, at the Dome? I
Yeah.
want to go.
It's that 1993 fight with Pernell and Chavez kind of.
It's the remnants
Feel.
of it. You know,
That was a big one, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
you have the
biggest
longest
one.
walkout, right?
Yeah.
You're walking out. I don't know how long that walkout is from.
Half a mile.
You know what I mean? Like that's the
Probably,
longest
probably
walkout.
feels like it, yeah.
You know, and everyone's just looking at you, right? It's just like you have everyone in the Alamo Dome just looking at you when you come out there. Like I can't imagine how you felt, but you know,
Yeah.
You
it's
were
just
exhausted by the time you got to the ring, right?
Yeah. I'm tired. Had to get water when I got to
And
the.
have
So
some-
that's, like people always ask, a lot of people ask me, what's your most memorable type fight? And it's always the walkout. Like, what do you remember? Like, if I could pick 5 things that I remember from fighting, that walkout with that big fight with Zuma Nelson on Pernell Whitaker, Chavez on the card,
Yeah.
was probably the top 5.
That was the second
Walkout
fight.
was a good
the
feeling.
feeling, yeah.
That was the second Nelson fight.
The crowd
first
going
one.
crazy.
First one.
and
Yeah, that
People
walkout.
grabbing at your hand.
Oh, yeah.
that
Was
walkout I cannot explain. It's like I try to tell people. It's like it's almost like I always tell people this. It's almost like a female or a lady explaining what it felt like to give birth. Like, you can't explain that.
Yeah.
Right. I couldn't explain what it felt like to walk out on that night with everyone watching, everyone being there, just like time stopped.
Well, it's your hometown.
Yeah.
So they're going crazy.
63,000 people. It's my
Going
first
nuts,
world title
chanting
fight
your
with
name.
Azuma Nelson. All the thoughts that were going in my head, man, I hope I don't get knocked out.
Yeah.
I hope I
In
win.
my town.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
You got some great music playing,
Because
man.
could you imagine what could happen? You could get knocked out the first round, out cold.
Yeah.
You fight a guy like Azuma Nelson,
Yeah.
then you're in
At
front.
least the only thing you remember is the walkout.
Yeah. So,
It could have been worse.
Yeah, but so that's one of my top 5.
I could see it, man. It's your music kicks on, right?
It's crazy.
Bon Jovi, it's playing. Jack Glover and his friends,
Yep, the Cowboys.
the Cowboys,
Shooting
they're
off,
there.
Can you imagine? You can't do that nowadays, right?
Now-
Shoot
No
guns.
way.
Now, do you work out extra hard? It was in your hometown, you were saying, or no? Is that I
Nah.
gotta win this shit in my town?
Yeah, the workout's always the same. It's always hard.
Yeah, but
yeah.
you didn't focus a little harder because it was your hometown.
It's always. It's
Where was the
always
camp at? Where was training camp at?
I'm not sure if I was in Florida or in Virginia for a while and came back to San Antonio, or if I was in Houston for a while and come back. I'm not sure where I was at. I think could have been Houston.
Yeah.
I think I was in Houston for a little bit and then came back.
Do you guys see any fights that are like? I mean, I would assume you put on events for a while. We started in 2012. It's been a while, right? Like
Yeah.
y'all were doing it. Do y'all see fights? Like, do you go to fights and you're like, man, do you ever get that itch to do it again? Like,
Absolutely.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
would be nice.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we could always do fights here in town, but we wanted to do big fights. We didn't just do club shows. We didn't do club shows.
Yeah.
We did big fights.
Yeah.
I mean, HBO, Showtime.
We did
Pay-per-view.
CBS, NBC,
Yeah.
ABC, all the majors, Showtime, HBO.
That was kind of y'all's calling card, was bringing big time fights back.
Big fights, yeah.
You know, that was the whole thing, and y'all did.
And since we've stopped, they haven't been back.
It hasn't been the same. You know,
The,
I
the
can't-
business has changed, though.
Yeah.
I mean, for
Yeah.
boxing, it's
It's all Vegas.
or
it
they're
changed
going
that way.
overseas and or to
Yep.
Europe and
Now they're in Europe a lot, right?
Yeah.
a lot. That's where the money's at right now, and so the business has just changed a lot.
Yep.
There's not as many fights, really outside of Las Vegas.
And like we're talking about this Turkey guy,
Yeah.
he's going to take a lot of this business over there.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
these big fights are going to be
Yeah.
happening over there or here, but he's going to be involved with them.
Yeah.
I almost feel like he's going to put everything in the bubble, like
Yeah.
in a monopoly. I'm not saying he's going to monopolize it, but he is. And all these other promoters, Bob Arum, Don King, Oscar, all those guys are going to kiss up to this guy because he's paying crazy money.
Yeah, of course.
They're all going to kiss up to him. And either, hey,
if
here's
he
my
doesn't
fighter.
buy, if he don't
borrow
buy
my
him out,
fighter. Huh?
if he don't buy him out,
Yeah, he don't buy him out. He may buy him out, but it's gonna be more of these guys. Here, I have this guy. Use this guy. Use this guy
He's
because they
gonna
get
have
paid.
to. He's gonna have to use them.
He's gonna have to use
So they can-
other
they
promoters.
can-
But there's
They
still
gotta
a business
use
for
the
these
fight.
other promoters to help these fighters work up to the
Yeah,
top. You know what I
build
mean?
themselves
So
up,
there's
yeah.
still business, but again, those big fights are.
I mean,
aren't gonna be there.
if all those fights are going to be overseas, there's still a whole market for U.S. fights. You know what I mean? Like,
There's a
they
whole
ain't going to
market.
go over there.
Well, first of all, he took all the fights. I was talking to Greg from the Combative Sports. He goes, "We have no fights, no fights." The guy took them all. So that's one thing. The second thing is nobody likes to watch a fight in the daytime. It's boring.
Yeah.
Who wants to watch Saturday afternoon?
Yeah.
we used to,
Saturday morning a fight.
yeah, but we used to do that back in the days, back in the '80s when there was Wild World Sports at 4:00 in the afternoon. Those
Yeah.
are great fights, but it's
But-
been so long since
Yeah,
that's
but
happened.
like I'm not going to
Yeah.
watch a fight. We're going to go out.
Yeah, we're
We're
busy.
going to go find a place to watch a fight.
Mhm.
I'm not going to do that. It's gonna hurt boxing
Yeah,
because I miss fights in the daytime. Do you guys miss the fights?
I miss them all
I
the
miss
time.
them all
you
the
don't
time.
watch.
Yeah.
You don't watch them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I mean, again, you're going with Turkey and Dana White.
Yeah.
You know, the new location for May 2nd is going to be in the middle of Times Square. No one really knows how logistically how that's going to operate.
In the
but
middle of Times Square.
It's
Oh,
gonna be.
okay,
There's
well,
no. It's not Madison Square Garden. It's not wherever.
Times
It's
Square.
they just say Times Square.
Okay, so
so-
they're gonna probably rip it up, put a ring in there.
They're gonna put it. I'm sure. I imagine them putting the fights on the screens, on the buildings, and all that. No one knows how it's gonna operate.
When is that? May 2nd?
May 2nd. Yeah,
should
May,
go.
Yeah, May
Yeah, why
2nd.
not?
Yeah, just
should
walk there, and you'll be there. You'll be part of the crowd.
Yeah.
May 2nd, you have Times Square fight featuring the main event.
Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero.
Yeah.
May 3rd, you have Canelo fighting. Is he fighting here? Or is he fighting
I think he's in
over there?
I think it's over there.
Yeah. But and then they're talking. I think it was 2026. They're working on a location in Alcatraz Island.
Oh yeah. I heard
So
about that.
they're focused. I mean, again, I can't imagine how much it costs to put that, but
Yeah.
that's lunch money for a turkey. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter where they're going to do. And again, one of the oldest sports in the world, boxing, bringing that feeling back of location. You know what I mean? Like putting it in places it's never been before, like Alcatraz Island. I
Yeah.
think is pretty
That's
cool.
crazy.
Now you got that
Well,
fight.
I think if they're paying fighters that salary we talked about, right, mid tier, you got to create. You got to make those fighters well known in these great cards, and you got to do that outside of Las Vegas. You have to create them in different. So maybe there's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean, especially fights that are happening. I mean, you think of boxing venues or boxing capitals of the world. You have Vegas, New York, California, but in South, maybe Dallas, Cowboy Stadium, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's more fight fans here in Southern Texas, in San Antonio. So, I mean, there's a market there.
And that's what I'm saying. Y'all had I would say before people were really focusing on it, like y'all's Leija Battah socials were popping. You know what I mean? I think y'all still haven't been posting anything, but there's 6,000 followers on that social
that
media
right?
alone.
Yeah. Wow.
If y'all put something out, that many people are gonna see it. You know what I mean? Like
And we get
it's
asked about it all the time.
Yeah.
all the time.
All the time.
Maybe
You know.
maybe we'll get a call from Turkey to put it at the Alamo Dome.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
these guys, y'all do still have we still do have that southern Texas influence. You know what I mean? Where it's like South Texas, like fight fan influence. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. They say that the pay-per-view sales in South Texas are the number one sales for pay-per-view. They say that.
Really?
I don't know too much about it, but they say
Yeah, it's
You know,
always
so
it's always top sales.
yeah.
I
So
would
you
assume
get a
so.
lot of the press conferences for major fights started coming here when we were around because of that, but they don't do that anymore. But that was a point where they came to our area to promote.
Yeah, how did that come to be? Like, why when Mayweather fought?
Just because they knew that this pay-per-view area was a big selling number.
Yeah,
They started, and they knew we were here to help out,
yeah,
and they brought him here. And other press conferences that they had like a Canelo, the Cuban, what was the Cuban guy from Houston? He
Cuban
fought
from Houston.
Cuban fighter, thin guy.
Yeah, I know who it is.
You know what I'm talking
Mhm.
about?
Why can't I think of it?
He fought, and
Uh-huh.
they did the press conference here. I think they did Mayweather's press conference here with Canelo,
with Canelo, yeah.
and then they did Mayweather's
That's right.
press conference with
Maidana.
Maidana here.
Who's the fighter from Houston? Not from Houston, from Cuba.
Yeah, it's Cuba.
He
but-
fought Canelo on the. He was
Yeah.
it was our second fight we did
Yeah,
with Canelo.
well,
right?
no, but we didn't do it with him.
Yeah,
But they
he was
promoted
on-
him
yeah,
here.
Yeah, but who's the guy's name?
Yeah,
I can't think of that. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
And then one of the fun times that we had is when we flew with Canelo for some of these
press conferences.
press
here.
conferences. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we were.
what
like
kind of
that.
guy was he? When
Oh, he's cool. He's
That guy's a super guy.
just the nicest guy in the world. Just like it's like us hanging out together and just talking.
and speaks very good English, I hear, huh?
Pretty
I'm
good.
Sure.
In my personal opinion, he speaks better English than he lets on.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I
he
mean?
speaks
He's only
well.
going to speak Spanish for the public eye.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then if he's
You
got
know.
to speak English, I'm sure he's going to speak English. But I'm going to tell you, this guy wants to make sure that everybody in the room is taken care of, and he's look out for them.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He looks out for everybody, I think. He's
Could you
great.
like back in the day? Could you see because y'all were in that field at that time? Could you see like a rift between Canelo and Oscar developing? Like at that time?
Oh
like,
yeah,
could you-
right off the bat, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about it because we can.
Yeah.
When you're in an auto accident, you shouldn't be concerned with legal runarounds, just real advice. You deserve an attorney ready to work for you, an attorney that won't back down.
I've lost loved ones due to the negligence of others. If you or a loved one has been injured in an auto accident, I want to be there for you.
Raul B. Rodriguez and his team care about ensuring you and your family are represented, whether on the road or in the workplace. Raul is real, and Raul won't back down. Call 210-899-0300 to schedule a free consultation.
So Mike knows more about this, but it was when we're here and we're doing the big fight, the first fight with Canelo that Oscar gave us. to do, and he said, "You want 9 weeks?" And so we started doing all the promoting, working hard to do the fight, selling all these tickets, and Canelo's people, I'm not gonna say who, but Canelo's people came up to Mike and they asked if we wanted to promote him, if we would promote him.
Yeah.
Promote Canelo.
If we would promote him.
Or promote like
His
his
fights.
upcoming, or like he was starting some promotion or something like that, and maybe his was going to start having little fighters and help out in that area, but to get affiliate because he was building his career. I'm assuming, yeah.
Kind of like hinting at leaving Golden Boy.
Whatever it was, and he was at our gym.
Yeah.
Training at our gym for for a month or whatever, and they saw they saw how Mike worked and the type of work that we were doing there and the gym, and they just loved the atmosphere. They loved us. They loved the way we did things. And they asked us if we would consider promoting them.
Wow. I had no idea about that.
But at the same time, we, Oscar, this was our first fight with Oscar, and we didn't know that was a thing he was doing, like, go and tell these guys so I will see where they're at.
Wow. Yeah.
But the opportunity would have been huge, but we told him, right, Mike?
Yeah, we were just like...
We tell him now, we're with Oscar.
You don't bite the hand, right?
Yeah,
it was a little bit weird.
Oscar gave us a big opportunity, so we said, no, we're with Oscar.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
so that's how it would never happen. Nothing ever happened after
So
that.
you can already see at that point, they were already thinking,
Yeah, he was already thinking, yeah.
Let me get out of this almost,
I think
right?
the guy, Oscar was such bad press to everything in that company that I don't think that was the guy Canelo's style.
Yeah. I get that. Because that was also that time when Oscar was coming out with all this stuff. That was right at the heat of it. Yeah.
He hadn't go away from the fights.
Yeah, it was kind of not as present as he might be now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. I had no idea.
I remember that we were doing the fight in Houston, and we were in the hotel, and some guy committed suicide in the hotel.
I was on that floor. I was staying on that floor. Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit, what the fuck did Oscar do now?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like my thought was like, I saw all the police coming through, and I was like, oh man, this fucker's gonna fuck up.
And the reason that was because he was going through all that at that time.
Yeah,
right?
he was getting all crazy.
That would have been
crazy shit.
That wouldn't have been an odd thought.
Yeah.
At that time, everyone was.
Yeah, the guy was actually a Golden Boy employee. I don't think he did it because of Golden Boy, but
Right.
I think he had his own problem. But I was like, the whole police were on the floor. It was like ambulance, everything was just I was like, oh my
All these
God.
bad thoughts running through your mind.
It was just like, and it was like a day before the fight, and it was like,
Yeah, it was the weigh-in.
what does
I remember
fucking
it
guy
was the
do
weigh-in. It was
now?
the weigh-in.
Yeah,
I was making
right.
weight that day.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way that maybe that guy Canelo's like always there was issues coming up, probably more issues than we see.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
yeah, just not the guy's style.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, it turned out that he left him.
Yeah. Because there's always that thing of like boxing, like I would say for y'all, it's boxing guys taking care of a boxing promotion. That's always what you want because you've been through it, right?
Yeah.
Oscar's a boxer. He has box promotion, but not every boxer is clean like that, right? Like everyone has something, but it just had a lot. You know what I mean? There's just a lot going on in that guy. You know? Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's character. Your character always shows in fights. It shows the type of person you are. It shows how you promote things. It shows how you treat people. It's character.
Yeah.
And I think that has a lot to say about different things, different people.
Yeah. Did you guys have I can't remember if we had that fight. Did y'all do I had it in my head, the Brian Vera Chavez fight? Did y'all do that one? Was that y'all's? Remember Chavez Jr.? Chavez Jr. was training at our gym.
No.
I'm not sure if we did that fight, though, or if he was just training at our gym.
No. That probably would have been like a top-ranked fight.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah. That sounds about right.
But he would have been, I think he was working out with your dad.
Yeah, he was. I remember that. Because we even then, speaking about character, we're seeing kind of like how he moves in a certain way, right? Like all these guys, now no fighter's the same, right? But we were seeing how Chavez kind of moves, and we had already had Canelo in our gym, like maybe 2 months before that, and then we have Chavez Jr. in our gym. And we're like, wow, this is two different Mexicans, two different guys right here. You know, like one goes about it very professionally, and Canelo, which still is happening to this day. Maybe that's the key to that longevity that he's had in his career is
professional 100% of the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can see the opposite in Chavez Jr. right now, but still, like even back then, you could still see all that stuff.
Yeah,
you know
you
what I
can see where it was going at that point, right?
mean? Man, y'all were at the bedrock of boxing.
Man,
you know?
we I'm telling you, and to brag about ourselves more,
Yeah, why not?
is at that one point, you know, San Antonio was a top 4 boxing cities in the United States.
Mhm.
We were just killing it, right?
Yeah.
It was Vegas, L.A., New York, and San Antonio.
Yeah, they hadn't moved to Dallas yet. Dallas hadn't been.
Yeah, it's that I don't think Dallas will ever do it. I don't think Dallas can.
I mean, they were doing the fights at Cowboy Stadium.
yeah, but they
were doing
didn't
all
do
that,
too
but-
many of them. They only did a few of those.
Yeah.
And
You're talking about it on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing. So what did you guys learn from the business, right? The box promoting, not the fight, right? But now promoting. What are some of the key takeaways you learned, like from first fight, second fight, third fight? What did you learn in each one, and how did you, how did each one get better?
I think that I learned that the main boxer probably makes most of the money in the promoter, okay, and nobody else is probably going to make money, right?
Yeah.
And because they're not going to let you.
Yeah.
And the boxing business is cutthroat.
yeah,
So-
as I said, it's probably easier to be the fighter than the promoter.
Yeah, you'll probably take more money home.
To be the main event.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to just say, like, a Canelo and an Oscar as a promoter at that time would be the people who may take the money.
Yeah.
Okay, with the ticket sales, with the TV time, with the whatever. That promoters maybe make a little or none.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody else around, probably not much. And when you go to a fight, you see 100 people working there, and nobody's doing anything. Nobody. They're walking around like doing nothing. They always have about 100 people working. Again, I always look at that, and I learned that nobody does shit there. And what else? I don't know. Any else?
Well, I'm curious.
It's
I
a
mean-
dirty game. It's a dirty business.
I'm curious. I'm sure if the viewers thinking this too. What would it take, if anything, for y'all to say, you know what, let's do one more? If anything, what would it take?
That would take for me a straight pay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know about you.
Yeah, like pay us a fee or a rate to put it on, and we'll do the work.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one more thing. Speaking of like who makes the money, I know that when we made what we made on the first fight with Canelo and Trout, I bought the fight for $1 million, James and I, and we made $750,000 on that fight. And I know that Richard Shapert fucking died to give me that check. He couldn't fucking take it.
They were
for
mad.
the life of
They were mad that they had to pay us.
He didn't expect us to make that amount, and it was not going good with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, on the flip side, somebody would be happy to give you that
No fucking way.
and bring you another one, right?
No
and
way.
do something bigger,
No way.
you know?
They want to keep the money to
He
themselves.
choked it out to us in the future.
Yeah.
So over time he did. He got it back.
He got it back and more.
Yeah. And in a way, boxing is a little bit no different than on the concert side of things because, the main act, the headliner,
Yeah.
I always tell people, they're taking 90 cents on the dollar. That's what they're taking.
Yeah.
Now they got a lot of expenses. That leaves 10% left over for the promoter and the venue, and they got to kind of wrestle with that a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's if you're the headliner, you're going to take your lion's share. If you're the main event, the champion, you're going to take the lion's share of the money, I suppose.
I would think it'd be very interesting to see how it happened, how y'all would do now, just because there hasn't been something like that. There's a lot of small clubs, right? Club shows, but like,
And that's
nothing like that.
and that's the difference is that we did big time boxing. We did, it's big Canelos and the
not only
Trouts
that,
and-
y'all were doing pro-ams on those fights.
Yeah.
So you got you got the city coming out for those, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of support, and you don't see those pro-ams right
And
now.
we could do those smaller venues, the smaller fights, the local club show, but it's a lot of work for not a lot of money, you know. And it's a lot of work, and Mike's
and
crazy
some
busy.
risk too. Think about it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
just the same risk, right?
Yeah.
no
But
matter what.
that's just a lot of work to do, and for little money
Yeah.
is that, and well, we could do the big fights, but that's a lot of work too. But
I think it's almost like y'all are taking on a different identity as the fighter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big risk, but for maybe a little payoff. But man, we're doing it. You know what I mean? That's a fighter.
Yeah.
That's like fighting. That's boxing. You know what I mean? That whole thing for glory, for where y'all are sitting right now to say you did 2 Canelo fights, you did some of these fights of the years, you did knockouts of the year, and that alone is the glory. That alone is what y'all did it for.
And
like
people remember people remember.
People remember it. Y'all made a dent here in South Texas with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a good point to be
Even
made.
in Houston, we did with Canelo Kirkland.
I mean, has Canelo been back at Houston since then?
No.
You know, it's just one of those things. Like y'all definitely had that.
We had it listed. We had a lot of fights going on. We had little fights in Dallas on CBS. We had fights in Corpus. We had fights in Dallas and Houston and in San Antonio. We had a lot of stuff going on. In Austin, we had a lot of fights going on there. All over town. I mean, I know it. We had fights on Halloween in Houston with the Charlos.
Yeah.
And that was a crazy
good,
fight.
yeah.
And it froze or something. It was weather was crazy and the whole city froze or something, and it was just that was horrible.
Yeah.
I don't even think we had our ring announcer able to fly in that day.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And you know,
We
thinking
had
about it now, since we're doing our red carpet brawl now, we're already 2 fights in, or 2 events in.
Yeah.
It's very similar to we kind of still have
That's that promotion.
that blueprint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We kind of still have that Leija Battah Promotions blueprint for our red carpet brawl.
Well, you're doing also the amateur fights. Those are good that you guys are putting in there.
Yeah, I mean, we do amateur. We have amateurs that
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
But like we were saying in a previous podcast, we could bring that to the Golden Gloves. Like we could bring that to anything we do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we have the blueprint. We already know what sells. We know what these Texas boxing fans want. You know what I mean? Any boxing fans in general. You just don't want to go and see the fight. You want to go and have a good night. You know, you want
to have an event. We have events.
We have events.
We have not just fights. We have events, and people love to see an event.
Yeah.
How many amateur fights did you guys do at your event?
Oh well, when we do the red carpet brawl, we have a total of 8 amateur fights, but 5 or 6 of those fights would be the business people fighting.
Yeah.
And maybe 3 true amateur
three
fights.
amateur
Which
fights.
we always say, yo, unless you go pro, and even then when you go pro, you may not be fighting against something as nice as this. You know what I mean? This venue, like this is where the pros fight, you know, Techport, under these lights. You get to walk out to your own song. What other amateur, if you're an amateur boxer, what other amateur gets to walk out to their own song?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and
In front of,
in front of people. And I mean, in front of like,
1,000 people.
Not only that, but it's the who's who in San Antonio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a good event and all that. But that's the blueprint from Leija Battah Promotions. That was just like, man, even in the pro-ams, it was like you felt like a pro.
Yeah.
You felt like a pro as an amateur. I fought in those. Like you can, you know.
In the Alamo Dome.
In the Alamo Dome, I fought as an amateur. Like I can imagine that. Like that's just like amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
Good
Twice.
feeling.
I fought twice in the Alamo Dome.
Oh, you did? You
Yeah.
did it twice, yeah.
It was just really
Those
cool.
were big jobs.
Yeah, I bet.
That was a big job to put that together. Putting all those. We did like 25 fights. That's 50 fighters, you know?
Yeah. That's an all-day event.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
all
would
day.
stick it- Yeah.
That's what we're thinking. We're thinking about, we would like to start this amateur program again, start putting some good amateur fights on,
Yeah.
building it up again.
Because I think that's what it needs. It's kind of getting lost here, right? Like boxing was such a big staple. It is, but it's such a big staple here in San Antonio that you want to feed that fire. You want to like blow some air on that flame, put some log on the fire. You know what I mean?
You never know what happens. Somebody might come in here and say,
The
"Help
pro
us out."
game already seems like it's getting monopolized, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Like but the amateur game, like here, it's open. You know what I mean? Like not just to make money on it, but to give people an opportunity to fight on a big stage that they may never be pro. You know what I mean? But to give them that shot or give them that feeling of this is what it feels like to make that ring walk, to wait in that, for all these people to be here, like to be in an event, you hear the music going on, everything. You know what I mean?
There's
Like,
there's going to be amateur fights here. There always are amateur fights here, but to put in that type of venue, that type of walkout,
exactly.
that type of views of people being there, and that's something you cannot. You cannot.
Just to peek behind the curtain, when we do red carpet brawl, sometimes we put our amateurs from our gym on the card, and we're interested to see how they move in that setting because they want to go pro eventually.
Yeah.
So we're saying, hey, well, let's see you deal with this. Like, you know, let's see if you fold under those lights, or let's see if you rise to the occasion because this is what you would feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
What have you learned so far?
what I've learned so far
From your
is
fighters.
from my fighters is a lot of times it's not even so much about the lights and all that. That goes away once you get in the ring. But when you're waiting, that's the build up the week before, you know you're gonna be on that stage. That is kind of nerve wracking for them, but you kind of see more or less who's gonna answer the call once the bell rings. You know what I mean? If you can eliminate all of this, you're great. But some guys focus on it a little bit too much, and it hinders them.
Some guys will fight and they're worried about who's watching, who's
Exactly.
when you're just focused on and not the fighter. But sometimes it just happens automatically. So sometimes guys can't change that switch. Like, okay, I got to fight right now. It's like, who's watching?
It's like these guys when they got that Canelo call. It's like, damn, we got 9 weeks. Like, you're gonna answer the call or not? You know what I mean?
So here's the thing. You get the call for Canelo. You got 9 weeks to promote it. Day of the fight, night of the fight, main event. Where are you watching the fight? Are you down ringside, sitting down, watching it? And what's your feelings? You know, we were a big part of this, making this happen. So what's that feeling like?
I didn't really think about that.
These guys were in the ring during the national anthem and all that.
Yeah,
so.
we're in the ring. Mike man and I thought about it, but we're watching the fights. We're sitting right next to each other at the fights and with our wives, and I'm like, God, man, Mike, look at this. We did this, and, and Mike's probably just watching. But I'm excited because, that's pretty good to do. It was pretty cool to see what you made. It's 40,000 people in the Alamo Dome.
Yeah. Mike was looking if the 100 people working are
exactly.
actually working.
What are you doing? The people that are working, like, take that cup's full. That cup. That someone dropped that cup.
For the last 3 rounds, you just been standing there.
Watching the fight.
He's watching the guy in the
Mike's
back.
looking, how do I get a piece of that beer?
So we always got the opportunity to sit at the fights. That was the best part about it. Front row. So and anywhere you want to go. So that was
inside
the
the cage.
part.
Inside the cage, not even front row. Inside.
Yeah, inside.
But was there like, did you feel a sense of accomplishment? Hey, we put 40,000 people in here into the dome in 9 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. It was nice.
You did a victory lap.
Yeah, no, it was very nice. It was very nice. It was. We were very happy. I think we did a great job, and again, Canelo does a great job. The guy's name sells wherever he goes. That thing, it's going to be a bang.
He's a machine too.
He's a
man.
damn machine.
He's a good talker.
Yeah.
He likes to just talk and promote. And,
I mean,
he's smart with that.
I think here's something different though. Is like Mike and I have done our promoting, and maybe it's done for her, but maybe it's for you guys to start doing. Start doing this thing.
Just pay us up front first, and then we'll do it.
You want that upfront money?
We might get some old person to come back to us. You never know, like we say. And come back to you guys. Pass it on.
I mean, you already know, like, boxing runs in our blood. It's been doing. We've been doing that. We were front row to see y'all do y'all's thing. You know what I mean? We know what it takes. Like, we can put things together. We're just coming up in all of this. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say we don't have the Golden Gloves in 5 years? Who's to say we're not doing this stuff? You know what I mean? Like, it can only help the city. It can only help boxing in this, within our reach, which we have a pretty big
you to
reach.
host the Golden Gloves?
I would love to.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
You know what I mean? That's an open market. Pro boxing, sure, it's taking its own thing, but amateur boxing, man, that's an open field for people to rise, for people to showcase better.
It'd be nice to do the Golden Gloves, like at Techport.
Like the Golden Glove finals.
Something like that would be.
Yeah, it used to be that way back in the day, where the Golden Gloves was at Woodlawn, and then the finals would be at the
municipal
auditorium.
When it was there, I was like, man, that was the highlight. You reached I remember people in the dressing room fighting. They're like, I just want to fight at the municipal, because people fought there. Like my grandpa fought there, or your dad fought there. So like, I remember hearing people say, like, I just want to make it to municipal. That's the finals. That's a big crowd. That's a nice ring. Like, everyone's saying that. I'm here I'm here at Woodlawn, but everyone's wanting to get to Saturday, or everyone's wanting to get to Friday, the final at Woodlawn.
Or we just make our own amateur brand.
Yeah,
Golden Gloves is one thing, but I think what we come up with would be a little bit better.
I think the whole thing about that is the advancement, right? You got to win the regional Golden Gloves to advance to nationals, to do all that stuff, but. Yeah, man, we can. I've been feeling this for a while, just fighting as an amateur and as a pro and all that. We definitely have that influence to make something good better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have that. The way y'all have seen that. Y'all have done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're just branches off that tree.
How did the Pro-Am work? I mean, did you, was everything running through?
The combative sport for
Yeah,
amateur.
For
we had to
amateur,
get
so you had both.
two-
You had both involved?
Yeah.
Right. I guess you had to do that.
Yeah, so we would run them. We'd start like the amateurs at like 11 a.m. in the morning,
Okay.
and they'd run till maybe 4 o'clock, and we timed it because they're, what are they, a minute,
I
and a half,
see.
2 minute
Right,
round?
right,
Yeah.
right. Okay,
We
got
would
it.
run
Right. And then that part is done, and now we're going to
Everybody gets out,
the pros.
and the news
Yeah,
come in.
Got it.
It's busy
Okay.
because remember you have the Friday weigh-in for the pro.
That's a great idea.
The Friday weigh-in for
Yeah.
the pros. The amateurs weigh in on Saturday morning. The amateurs fight.
And it gives people some time to get there early, you know, from a building standpoint. I love that.
Yeah,
Bring
well,
them in early, have them start spending some money, and they're just kind of relaxed and they're watching some stuff. And
Yep.
you're not getting a big push of people coming at within that golden hour, you know?
Yeah.
But not only
Thousands
that,
of people.
Not only that, you see your son, daughter fighting in that ring
Right.
that Canelo's gonna fight in.
Yeah,
or
right,
that.
sure.
And they've shared that ring. You
yeah,
can
and-
imagine
and
that
Each
feeling.
one of them had like 20 family members going to this venue.
Yeah.
And that was times, 50 fighters, so that bring in a nice crowd to build it up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Even for the early fights,
Yeah.
the first fight, the first pro fights, they have a crowd to perform in front of.
Yeah.
These guys had the blueprint, and
Yeah.
it's almost like I would hate to say the blueprint's gone. You know what I mean? Just because y'all aren't doing it, like you can totally
Yeah.
do something. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, you
So
never
Well,
know.
Mike, what are some of the takeaways from your time of Leija Battah and doing these big fights? What are some takeaways that leave people with?
And like a takeaway, like what example?
Just overall, your overall impression of it. Hey, you had a few years to kind of look back at it now, and
I mean, it
from a
was
business
great times.
standpoint
It was
to-
good. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I met
Lot
a
of work,
lot
a
of
lot of
people.
fun.
We met so many people.
So we met a lot of people that maybe I knew, but maybe you didn't know.
Yeah.
But just so many people, how thankful they were for us doing this, and
Yeah.
we became, boxing celebrities again of being out there and doing something for boxing.
Y'all became a unit.
Yeah.
I remember guys looking at Mike like that's Mike.
Yeah. Oh no! Not only that, no one ever said my name without Mike being involved or Mike's name without me being involved.
Exactly.
We were like twins everywhere.
Yeah,
Hey, Mike,
exactly.
where's James? Or James,
Yeah.
where's Mike? It was like that all over town.
I think it's still like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you from a building manager perspective,
Yeah.
we appreciated what you guys did
Yeah.
during that era, during that time.
Yeah.
Because from a building, you want boxing.
Yeah.
When I get a call for a boxing event, I'm like, let me cut whatever deal I can to make it work for everybody, pay the building's bills on it, make it work for the promoter. But all I know is that, that tap's going to be open.
Yeah.
It's like I tell people, we're not in the rental business, man. We're in the popcorn, beer, and soda and ticketing business. That's
Right.
where it is.
Right.
From a building standpoint, it's just kind of where it is now.
Yeah.
But you guys, the name Leija Battah, both of y'all with stellar characters, great business people. You paid your bills. You treated people with respect.
Yeah.
You were fair business people. And you put on some good quality fights. And so from a building standpoint, all the different, arenas, facilities you guys were in, everybody had the same thing to say about you guys. So, hats off to y'all for doing it right.
And you helped us out a lot doing
Well, I
our
did.
first show.
I mean,
at the
because you guys
Alamo Dome.
were good people, man.
Yeah.
It reminds me of these two guys. Remind me of Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld. And like we got the last 2 tickets to Disney World.
Yeah.
then the whole game changed. After
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It did. Like y'all could run it back, but like the game is different now. You know what I mean? Like who knows if y'all could do that same
Yeah.
impact, right? Like man, think about all the guys that he named that have gone through Leija Battah fights. You know what I mean? That's amazing.
Yep. A lot of fighters.
Mhm.
A lot of
You never
fighters.
know. There's a
Even Leo
whole,
Santa Cruz fought on our card, right?
Yeah.
Did you say
Leo.
that? You said that? Okay.
Yep.
wasn't it Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares? That wasn't it?
No, that
I
wasn't
don't
it.
think so.
That wasn't it.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know.
Why did
Who
I
was
see?
the, who was the heavy hitting Argentinian that fought Berto?
No, he fought.
Yes, I know.
He fought Thurman. No, He fought Berto.
Berto and
I know this. I know this Argentine. He was a nice friend.
Matisse.
Oh yeah, Lucas
No,
Matisse.
no,
Was it Matisse?
no. It was another guy, and he was really not a big name, but he was a great fighter.
Good
And
guy,
when he came out, it was either he fought Thurman because whoever he fought, or Berto, when he came out of the gun, the guy was he didn't drop him. He stunned him.
Let me see.
When he came out, and we thought he was going to beat him. It was either Berto or Thurman that he fought, and it was in the AT&T Center on Omar's main event.
I think it was Berto.
It was Berto,
Yeah, I believe so.
That was Omar versus DeMarco, Antonio DeMarco.
but Berto won that fight.
So, July 13th, Berto fought Jesus Soto Caras again
Okay.
at AT&T Center.
And then
And
who
then-
did Thurman fight? He fought the kid, the Argentinian,
Oh, Thurman. I got it right here.
and the kid rocked Thurman.
Did he?
As he came
Diego
out-
Chavez.
Yeah, Diego
Yes,
Chavez.
wow.
Diego
yeah,
Chavez.
remember that.
I used to go every once in a while. I go back and forth with him on.
Yeah. Well,
on
he
Instagram.
lost, but he came out of that, and it was like
Wow.
Thurman was so big and growing at that moment. It was like he was top.
That was one time. That was one time Thurman
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Keith one time. That was long haired.
No, it's two
Yeah.
times.
So look at the boxing landscape right now. Do you have any favorites? Anybody that you're kind of keeping tabs on, or
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
This card is crazy. July 13th, AT&T Center. You had local Armando Cardenas.
Yeah, Armando Cardenas.
You had, and then the next fight, you had Joseph Rodriguez Mongoose. You had another fighter after that, and then from there you had Anthony Durrell,
Wow.
Omar Figueroa, Andre Berto versus Caras, and then Keith Thurman versus Diego Chavez.
Yeah, that was a big card.
It was a
Five
big
world
fight.
titles,
Stacked
5 world
card,
champions
dude.
in there.
Yeah.
Showtime.
Think about that. That's crazy.
It was
5 world
Showtime.
champions.
That's pretty
in
cool.
that card, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you still keep your ear to the ground on boxing?
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, I look at it all the time. I see what's going on.
Mhm.
Hopefully, we'll get something coming.
Anybody you like to see that's not Canelo or
I like what's his name, little kid, the one top kid right now,
Gervonta?
Tank?
Tank. I mean,
Tank.
I like him, but he kind of is tanking it a bit from last fight. Right?
He's tanking.
Yeah.
Tank is tanking.
Yeah.
it.
He's one of my favorite fighters.
He's one
Tank.
of my favorite fighters. Yeah, I like Tank a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Other
He's
than
going to be
that-
out this. I mean, he's saying he's going to retire at the end of this year or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
I think he's probably.
He's made enough money.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what he's made or what he spent, but
Yeah.
What he spent.
What he
Yeah, that's a
spent.
good question.
Yeah.
but I don't know if the guy made it. You think he made a lot of money?
He's-
I don't know what he's getting paid in his
He's
fight.
made a lot of money. I don't know if he's kept a lot of money.
Yeah, but yeah, I think he was worried about losing this fight coming up.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
think he won
Did
that
they
fight.
set the rematch, right?
I don't know.
I don't know if they're going to do a
Rematch.
rematch. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it was a close fight.
I thought I heard there was a rematch, but I'm not sure.
The whole
Okay.
thing about it, though, is if you're in that position, Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis, right, Tank, there's nothing in it for you to fight Roach again because you got the belt, right? Like,
Yeah.
it was a draw, right? So, like, do you fight the guy again or do you go somewhere
I
else?
think
with
you
it?
erase it for people's memory and move on.
I think
That's
that-
what he wants to do,
I
I'm
don't
sure.
think that. I mean, like when he fought the other Mexican, what was his name? They gave him a hard time.
Pitbull Cruz?
Pitbull. And they said, "Do you want to have a rematch?" He goes, "For what?
Exactly.
I'm
yeah.
already done with this guy, and I barely won, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go try it again so I can lose or what?"
So this is the whole thing. Like I haven't seen all the Rockies, but I've seen them all this week. I hadn't seen them before. Apollo Creed fights Rocky the second time, and everyone's saying, "Why? Like, why are you gonna fight this guy? It was such a tough fight. Why are you gonna?" And he's like, "I just got to." Like everyone thinks whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking like, if you're thinking smart, you're probably not doing that.
yeah,
You got to be smart. And I don't believe in rematches.
yeah.
You know, I mean, why give Lamont Roach another chance to beat you, right? Like
No.
you're in the ring with somebody for 12 rounds. You know that guy, you know, and what are you going to change the next fight? You know what I mean?
He's gonna have to get a little bit of a less opponent this time to make his name big again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I
I
don't know.
think
Who knows? Who knows where
If
that fight
he
goes?
comes back,
Well, isn't that crazy? He's at that point now where a knockout is not a win anymore for him. You got to knock him out, or else
Yeah, you struggle.
they're looking
with
for
them.
the knockouts.
yeah.
That's the position you put yourself in, knocking everybody out. Once you don't, you lost.
And
Yeah,
that guy
right.
was tall, Lamont. He was very
Yeah.
tall. He was very tall. This guy was
Yeah.
like a head taller.
And he was a step ahead. It felt like he was
Yeah.
a punch ahead.
When is the last time you saw Gervonta getting countered?
Yeah, he got countered. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The other guy's southpaw, though, right? The other guy was a southpaw.
I don't know.
Well, I don't think
Gervonta
Oh,
southpaw.
Gervonta southpaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think this other fight coming up May 4th with the one in New York with what's his name?
Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia. I think that's a rematch just to build his name back up because you know he's going to beat this Rolly.
Yeah.
Who doesn't beat
he
Rolly?
He should, but
Oh,
exactly.
no, he stops rolling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he should.
He's just trying to build.
Now,
his
you
name.
saying TKO's involved with that?
From what I believe so. I believe
Well,
so.
see, I remember Oscar saying about him fighting. He goes, "You
That was-
forgot
that
you have
was-
a contract with us. You forgot
That was
you have a contract."
a few months ago though.
That was right.
Yeah.
That was
China
a while
fight.
back. I don't know.
But
This
was
was
that for the
before before
Before
Turkey.
a China fight.
Okay.
This is before Turkey got involved with Oscar. Yeah. So
Well, I don't. Well, see, I may be off because Turkey Oscar was trying to do something to Turkey, and Turkey went straight to Dana White
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
left
that's right.
Oscar out.
yeah.
And Oscar started talking bad about that situation.
Oh, did he?
With Dana, he said whatever he said. He said something bad about the Dana White or whatever because he didn't get picked.
Yeah.
And so now it's like I don't know what. Now he didn't want Ryan to fight for.
Yeah.
for
I think
Turkey.
he was saying, what do you know about boxing? Like, what
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't UFC. Like, this is MMA.
Yeah.
I think it was something like that.
He's gonna beat him down. He's jealous.
Yeah, definitely. He's getting the opportunity. There's more longevity on TKO. It seems like they got WWE, UFC,
Yeah, wow.
and now they're going into boxing.
Professional bull riders. I mean, they got a great brand, and they're smart business people, man, at TKO.
Yep.
It's a machine.
Reminds me of Leija Battah Promotions.
That's it.
Well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the future, man. Let's see if it's not Leija
Maybe you get
Battah
the
Part
call
2.
from Turkey, Mike, and they
Well,
say, "Hey, we'll come
Turkey,
down
if you're
We got
watching,
the same blood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll take all these fights to
We both
Lebanon.
eat Arabic bread.
that's it.
Leija Battah, James Dean promotion.
You know what I mean? Why not do it? Why not build up these amateurs again? Why not give them a good event to fight
that would be
on?
nice. That
You
would be
know?
nice.
That'd be great, man. Mike, thanks so much for joining
thank
us
you,
today,
man.
man. It was awesome. This is a fun one. Like this,
Yeah.
Mike, is like
This is
he's
first,
like our uncle.
This
you
is
know
a
what I mean?
conversation we would have had at dinner tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just
Yeah.
doing it in front of a camera.
Yeah, for sure.
This
This
is
is
what
how
we
it
have
all
on
goes.
our Soluna nights.
Yeah, this is the
conversations.
corner conversations over here.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for joining us, joining in on our family talk today. If you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. More Leija Lounge coming your way. Be on the lookout for the next episode.